Hey there. Thank you so much for joining me, and I appreciate you for being here tonight on Genesis Dorsey's page. For those who haven't been here with me before, my name is Heather Thompson, and I'm a Clarity Life coach, author, and speaker. And I'm based in the Atlanta, Georgia area, but I am working with incredible women worldwide, and my focus is transforming worn out women into whole women through clarity based coaching. So, as always, feel free to drop a comment as you're watching. Feel free to share the replay, and I appreciate you tuning in whenever you do catch this. So, if you haven't tuned in with me before, just know that I tend to kind of keep things moving. I don't plan to keep you longer than looking at the clock, 15 minutes maximum for this one. But for tonight, our topic, since I like to jump right into it and get you back to the rest of your day or evening, depending on when you see this, we're talking about a time to heal, 5 self-care options to avoid overwhelm or burnout. And I've got plenty of notes for you today, so I do hope that you'll take some yourself and that you'll be able to apply this as we go through the rest of 2019 and beyond. So again, a time to heal. We're going to talk about 5 different ways that you can avoid burnout or overwhelm. Self-care is highly important, and one of the best ways to take care of yourself is to know your limitations. So with that being said, tip number 1, we're talking about learn to ask for help when needed. Learn to ask for help when needed. This is essential. It is really sad for me when I notice a lot of people who just are afraid to ask for help. And one of the reasons that we don't do this is because we're always focused on doing things alone. We want to be the Lone Ranger, and it's great to be independent and have the ability to manage our own business and personal needs. That's fabulous. However, we live in a society that is interdependent. Interdependence, for those who haven't heard the term before, is mutual dependence between different things. We see it in biology all the time. We see it in economies on a daily basis between nations. Why would the same not be true for human beings in general? That's what we have to consider. Why wouldn't it be? What we highlight on social media quite often now is how good we look doing life alone. I'm not talking about birthday parties or friend vacations. I'm talking everyday life and the struggles that we tend to face and the everyday challenges. The problem is that our daily lives, they aren't preparing us to die anymore. We're only focused on living. Have you ever sat with someone who is older, someone that would be considered a senior citizen, allowed an elder to give you some real talk on life and the processes that tend to come with aging? Because if you haven't, I want you to know it's more than potentially having arthritis or needing dentures later on or having your body break down in certain ways. There's also a greater risk for isolation, decreased connection with others, and the problems that come with loneliness. We're taught about how great marriage is, and it really is, but what about the value of maintaining our friendships? That's important as well. The power of good workplace associates, having what you consider to be a workplace friend, or even simply caring for the people that we have in our lives. All of this matters. Partnership goes far beyond marriage. It's also about those excellent friends that you have in your life, those people within your workplace and in your business and in general that you can count on and they can count on you. When we learn to do these things and value them, it's much easier to ask for help. Because then we're not asking strangers. We're not asking people that we talk to on a periodic basis and then worried about how weak we look. They already know us. They know what we deal with. Sometimes we don't ask because we don't want to be seen as the woman. We only want to be seen as the woman who can conquer it all. From the boardroom to the kitchen to our kids' birthday parties to the ballroom, we can just shine brightly and effortlessly. But the truth is that some of the things that we tend to keep up with, they are based on myths, fantasies, and creating an illusion that helps us to feel more than and to help us feel special. But the truth is, how does that help you get what you need? How does that help you get what you need? It doesn't. That's the simple truth. It does not. So I want you to make a point of creating an environment of asking for help more often. Don't wait until you run into a brick wall and then in your broken down state, you're finally saying, help me, please, I need someone. Ask before it gets to that point and you jeopardize yourself. And make sure that the freedom to ask comes from the caring relationships that you have. When you nurture them in advance, it allows you to be able to do so without getting caught up in a stronghold of pride. Now that leads to my next suggestion for you. Number 2, spending more quality time with loved ones, especially good friends. Spending more quality time with loved ones, especially our good friends. Now, though your legacy is going to live on after you leave this earth, your body will indeed give out. That does have an expiration date. What kind of time are you spending with those that you love before this is all over? That's a great question for you. According to WebMD, we have life stresses that leave big impacts on us, and some of the most common ones are an increase in obligations, emotional problems, and going through general changes. Now, hear me out. You need good friends. No matter what your income is, your marital status, or anything else, we need relatable friends with whom we have mutually beneficial connections, not just you taking from them and not just them taking from you, mutually beneficial. Not some frenemy, toxic situations either that needed to be ended years ago and you keep entertaining it for God knows why. You need safe places with trusted, like-minded individuals that listen to you and can speak to you openly, that you can take their advice, and vice versa. When you make friendships, especially now as adults, consider them an investment. Consider those friendships an investment. What are you willing to put in, and are you getting the same in return? Is the friendship an asset, or is it a liability? Now, if the answer to both of those questions is a good and healthy one, then definitely you need to make sure you maintain that friendship with open communication. And here's the kicker: actually getting together face to face. You all need to see each other. Months can easily turn into years of saying, we need to do better. We need to see each other. And this is particularly true for working parents of young children right here. I know exactly what that's like. Make the time. Stick to it and treasure it. You are going to need it as you go on. We get so caught up talking about how young we are, but the truth is, as real as time is, it's also an illusion. We get used to saying, I've got time, and you don't. You don't. You only have the very next time that you see each other, and that happens in that present moment. Don't squander it. Appreciate it. Treasure it. Number 3, vacation when you can. I mean this. Vacation when you can. Don't take it for granted. Listen, putting photos of Bali or Italy up on your vision board is absolutely great for motivation. But please make an actual plan to see these places in person. You don't need much insight on this one, so I'm not going to go on and on. Just a firm reminder, okay? You remember, for those of you who are into Joyce Myers, she had a book called Eat the Cookie, Buy the Shoes. The same idea fits here. Take the trip. And yes, do staycations for a time if that's better for your budget. No shame in that. But do everything you can to add a hint of luxury to that trip to make it more special for you and more memorable for anybody that's joining you as well. I want you to look and see, what's available on sites like Travelzoo, Travel Divas via their Facebook group, and check places like Living Social and Groupon to see what travel specials they offer. Using an experienced travel agent is a great idea, and planning in advance can save you time and headaches as well. But again, if money is an issue, save a certain amount each month, or if money isn't an issue, but you need to plan ahead, save a certain amount each month. Once you choose a destination, get that down, and know your spending limits. Find ways to increase your income or put tax refund money aside if necessary, and do something that gives you an experience that you won't forget. See the world while your health and your finances allow you the opportunity. You don't want to take that for granted. Number 4, we're all guilty of this one at some times. This goes back to getting help, of course, but we also have to learn to let things go. Let some people solve their own issues and learn to not enable grown adults. Please stop enabling grown adults. Stop answering everything that does not require your attention. And for our final point, I posted this on Instagram today, and it's something that I believe will bring all of this together. Stop discounting yourself for those who won't respect the full price of who you are. Stop discounting yourself for those who will not respect the full price of who you are. Your soul can't afford the constant markdowns. Your soul cannot afford the constant markdowns. Your soul being your mind, your will, and your emotions. What you can't afford, stop doing to yourself. What you allow others to do that's costing you too much emotionally, mentally, physically, even financially, stop that as well. Seriously. Here's the thing. While we say, well, it's not always that easy, we also make change too difficult. We act like it's impossible. We put it just out of reach when we say, well, it's not that easy. Well, you know what? Life isn't easy, but it is worth it, isn't it? So if protecting your peace isn't important to you, yet it needs to be now. It's important to protect your peace and uphold your purpose. When you get done with this life, are you trying to hear, well done, thy good and faithful servant, or something more like, she was always there for me, even if it meant being less for herself? Now, obviously, one's going to be said by God, the other one's going to be said by those you left behind. And if that last statement, well, she was always there for me, even if it meant less for herself, if that statement is what you're seeking, then I need you to own that. I need you to own that and realize that you are your biggest problem. People pleasing is not the same as being purpose driven. It's not, and it never will be. The two will never be equal. And only the last one carries an eternal reward. If you know that you sacrifice your eternal purpose for someone's temporary pleasure, then you're at a crucial crossroads and a dangerous one. Now is the time to decide if what you've been doing is what you can handle. All the ways that you put yourself second, fourth, or even dead last in your life, can your health keep doing this? Can you afford to? For all the parents who are watching me right now, would you advise your child to do the same as they grow up? Because even if you don't, remember this, our children often become what they saw more than what we said to them. Our children become what we saw more than what we said. Be the example for them and yourself. So I want you today to draw a line in the sand and say that enough is enough. For the areas that you've been more adamant about holding on to anger, about letting other people's problems determine your daily plans, about taking on too much, and you know that you are, but you do it because you don't want to lose the affection or the attention of someone else. I want you to get a clear vision for what it is that you really want, especially if we're talking about this being a time to heal. For some of you, you already have a vision, but you dropped it because someone else didn't approve. For all of you who grew up in church, you may remember that song that says, go back to the altar, fall on your knees, and stay there until you get the Holy Ghost power. Well, let's use that same idea here, but just change it a little bit. Go back to the original intentions that God had for your life. Actually, it has for your life, because notice, I say has because his plans are constant. We just tend to remix things and change our minds. I need you to get into a quiet space, even tonight if you can. Even tonight, and let the distractions fall from your mind. And then I want you to stay there and write out what you believe you need to do now and tap back into the power that God has given you. Go back, get into a quiet space, stay there, and write out what you believe you need to do now and tap back into the power that God's given you. A time to heal is always followed by a time to build or rebuild. We want to make sure that moving forward is not just dragging yesterday along with us and carrying the former issues into the present and future. Let this time be about that full healing. So I thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate your attention and your time. I thank you also for sharing this broadcast with anyone you feel can really use it, and feel free to save it and come back to it. Thank you again to Genesis Dorsey and her team for allowing me this platform. I have loved being here with you, and I plan to be here again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, my name is Heather Thompson, Clarity Life Coach, author, and speaker for women. And I am in case you're wondering, IamHeatherThompson.com. You can find me on Instagram, again, at IamHeatherThompson, Twitter at IamCoachHeather. And I so appreciate you. If you want to email me, feel free to do so at, you guessed it, really difficult, hello@IamHeatherThompson.com. And as I always say at the end of my broadcast, if you feel you're not having a great day, make it one. It is within your power to do so. God bless, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.